I used to wake up already feeling behind. The alarm would ring, and I'd hit snooze at least twice. I'd grab my phone, scroll through social media, and within 5 minutes I'd already be drowning in news, notifications, and other people's lives. Anxiety, stress, and comparison became the default way to start my day. It was like waking up and stepping into a storm without armor. But one morning, in a rare moment of silence, I stumbled across a quote. "The obstacle is the way." It hit me. I was letting life control me instead of mastering it. That single quote led me down a rabbit hole into Stoic philosophy, an ancient way of thinking that turned emperors and slaves into warriors of the mind. I began experimenting with a Stoic-inspired morning routine. It didn't promise success, fame, or luxury. It promised clarity, calm, and self-mastery. What I found didn't just improve my mornings. It transformed how I lived. What if I told you that everything you need to master your mind already exists? And it's over 2,000 years old. In a world obsessed with hustle culture, dopamine hits, and productivity hacks, we've forgotten the most important thing: our own mind. Stoicism is not a dry philosophy stuck in ancient scrolls. It's a survival kit for modern chaos. And when applied to your morning, it becomes the armor you wear into battle. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my personal Stoic morning routine. This isn't theory. These are 5 simple, powerful steps I use every day to wake up with focus, peace, and purpose. Whether you're trying to escape stress, reclaim your time, or just feel like yourself again, this routine can help you build the inner fortress you've been missing. So get ready, because how you start your day is how you shape your life. Let's be honest, most modern mornings are a disaster. Not in a dramatic, world-ending way, but in a silent, slow-burning kind of way. The moment we open our eyes, we're hit with a flood of noise. Alarms blaring, notifications buzzing, emails piling up, the news screaming about crises we can't control. And before we've even taken our first conscious breath, our minds are already hijacked by the outside world. It's no wonder so many of us wake up feeling anxious, foggy, or numb. We didn't ease into the day. We crash-landed into it. And what's worse, we've come to accept this chaos as normal. We roll out of bed and reach for our phones before we even reach for a glass of water. We scroll through social media, comparing our lives to carefully filtered highlights. We see people running marathons, building empires, living their best lives, while we're still rubbing the sleep from our eyes. That comparison hits hard. Even when we try to ignore it, it plants seeds of doubt. Why am I not doing more? Am I falling behind? That's not inspiration. That's invisible pressure. Pressure that builds quietly over time, until you wake up one day exhausted, discouraged, and disconnected from yourself. This isn't just about bad habits. It's about a broken pattern of living. When we start our mornings in reaction mode, we've already surrendered the most sacred part of our day: our focus, our intention, our peace. The first hour of your day is the foundation of your mindset. If that hour is filled with noise, distractions, and anxiety, it affects everything that follows: your work, your energy, your relationships, and your inner world. And yet, most people don't question it. They just survive the day, then repeat it tomorrow. But here's the truth: you can't build a calm, powerful life if you begin each day in chaos. The Stoics knew this. That's why they trained their minds daily. Before facing the world, they faced themselves. They didn't check the news or chase dopamine. They prepared their soul for the battle of life. So when I looked at my mornings and saw only reactivity, stress, and distraction, I knew something had to change. That's when I asked a strange question. What would a Stoic do in my shoes today? And that question led to a routine that quietly, but powerfully, changed everything. Once I realized that my mornings were broken, Not just rushed, but reactive. I knew I needed something radically different. Not another productivity hack. Not another motivational podcast. I needed a way to center myself before the world could shape me. That's when I turned to Stoicism, not as a philosophy to read, but as a discipline to live. I started experimenting. What would happen if I designed my mornings the way Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus might? If they were alive today, in my apartment, with my notifications, bills, and distractions? That single thought led to a 5-step morning practice that felt ancient, yet shockingly effective. It wasn't rigid. It wasn't about perfection. It was about presence, clarity, and becoming unshakable in a chaotic world. Step 1. Wake before the world, the hour of ownership. The first shift was simple. I started waking up earlier, not to hustle, but to reclaim silence. There's something sacred about the early morning before the world wakes up. It's like time moves slower. There are no emails, no expectations, just stillness. The Stoics emphasize the importance of starting the day with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That quote alone made me see the morning not as a checklist, but as a gift. Now, I rise about an hour earlier than I used to, not to be productive, but to own the first hour of my life each day. This hour is mine, before the world tries to take it. It doesn't matter whether you're a CEO or a student. That hour of ownership builds psychological space. It teaches you to respond, not react. Step 2. Cold water and present awareness, training the will. As soon as I get up, I head to the sink and splash cold water on my face. It's such a small act, but it sends a powerful signal. I am awake. I am here. I am choosing this moment. Cold water is a form of voluntary discomfort, and the Stoics practice this regularly. Seneca believed that exposing yourself to mild discomfort prepared you to handle greater adversity with calm. It's not about suffering, it's about training your will. That cold water shocks the system awake, but it also grounds you. It pulls you away from the dream state and back into your body. It's mindfulness, but physical. It reminds me that I'm not at the mercy of my emotions or impulses. I can choose clarity. Every drop of that water tells me, you are in control. Begin your day with presence. Step 3. Stoic journaling, mental rehearsal for life. After I towel off, I sit down with a notebook, not to write poetry, not to vent, but to practice what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. This practice changed everything. My journaling has 3 parts, and it takes less than 10 minutes. First, I write what I'm grateful for, not in a performative way, but in a mindful one. Gratitude realigns you with reality. It humbles you, and it opens your mind to the present. Second, I write down what obstacles I might face today and how I will respond with virtue. This part is powerful. I imagine the traffic, the rude customer, the unexpected email, the self-doubt, and I mentally prepare my response. If someone insults me today, I will respond with patience. If I feel overwhelmed, I will return to breath and clarity. That preparation builds emotional armor. Third, I write the virtue of the day. Courage, temperance, wisdom, or justice. I pick one and explore how I'll practice it. Today, I will show courage by speaking up. I will show temperance by resisting distractions. These aren't motivational quotes. They're my blueprint for the day. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." This journaling practice helps me do exactly that, by turning intention into preparation and preparation into behavior. Step 4. Reading a page of Stoic wisdom, daily calibration. With my mind sharpened by journaling, I turn to a page of ancient wisdom. I don't read for long. Just one page, sometimes just a paragraph. But that single idea becomes the lens through which I see the world for the rest of the day. I rotate between Marcus Aurelius' meditations, Seneca's letters to Lucilius, and Epictetus' discourses. What strikes me every time is how relevant their thoughts are, despite being written almost 2,000 years ago. For example, one morning I read Marcus's reminder. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That line hits like a lightning bolt. It pulls you out of distraction and into awareness. Another morning, I read Seneca's line. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Suddenly, I'm not spiraling over future problems. I'm anchoring myself in what's real. These writings recalibrate me. They remind me to live today like it matters. Because it does. Each day, I walk away with one principle. One timeless truth to carry in my pocket like a moral compass. Step 5. Stillness before screens, defending the mind. This step is hard, but it's non-negotiable. Before I open my phone, before I check emails or scroll or consume, I sit in silence. Just 5 minutes. No input, no distractions. Just breath and stillness. I listen to the wind outside. I notice my thoughts without chasing them. And in that space, I remember who I am. It's not meditation in the traditional sense. It's what I call defensive silence. In a world that weaponizes attention, stillness is resistance. It's your way of saying, my mind is not up for auction today. Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. That 5-minute retreat is where I reconnect to that soul. It's where I set the tone for everything that follows. No matter how chaotic the day becomes, I've already practiced peace. And that makes a difference. Every single time. Closing the exploration. When I first started this routine, I wasn't sure what to expect. There were no fireworks, no immediate transformation. But within a few weeks, I started noticing something subtle, yet profound. I was calmer. I was clearer. I wasn't as easily thrown off by unexpected stress. I had more self-respect. Because I was no longer reacting. I was choosing. That's the quiet power of a Stoic morning. It doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. And that's the point. You don't control the day, but you control how you show up to meet it. It didn't happen overnight. There was no magical turning point. No divine voice. Just small, quiet changes. Barely noticeable at first. But then, one morning, a moment came that made me realize something had shifted. I was sipping my coffee, staring out the window as the sun rose. I heard a loud ping. An email from someone criticizing a project I had poured my heart into. Old me would have spiraled. I would have started doubting myself, typing defensive replies, maybe even questioning my worth. But that morning, I just paused. I took a breath. I remembered my journaling. I remembered the Stoic virtue I had chosen for the day, temperance. And I said to myself, this is a test, and I'm ready. That moment was when I understood the real power of the routine. It hadn't just added a few peaceful minutes to my mornings. It had rewired the way I responded to life. I wasn't simply avoiding chaos. I was becoming resilient within it. Like Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That quote wasn't just something I had read anymore. It was something I had lived. My mornings were no longer about rushing, reacting, or chasing motivation. They became rituals of return, returning to my breath, my values, my clarity. And the ripple effects were everywhere. I found myself being more present with people, less irritated by delays, less consumed by worry. I wasn't perfect, but I was grounded, anchored in something deeper than just the day's agenda. What surprised me the most was how much space I started to feel in my mind. Not empty space, but clear space. I could think. I could observe emotions without being dragged by them. I started noticing when I was slipping into anger, anxiety, or ego, and instead of being trapped by them, I had tools. I had practice. That 5-step routine had quietly built a mental gym. One where I had been lifting emotional weights every morning without even realizing it. The world didn't get easier. The deadlines still came. The noise, the stress, the unexpected problems. They didn't go away. But I changed. My inner world got stronger, steadier, and more silent. And that silence, that centeredness, it's not emptiness, it's power. The kind of power that no one can give you, and no one can take away. That's what this routine gave me. Not a perfect life, but a powerful way to live. If this resonated with you, if even one part of this routine made you pause and reflect, don't just let it fade. Take action. Try the Stoic morning for yourself. Not next week. Not someday. Tomorrow. Start small. Start imperfect. But start. And if you found value here, consider subscribing. Because this channel is about more than just motivation. It's about building a stronger mind and a more grounded life. One practice at a time. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the first Stoic habit you're going to try tomorrow morning? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your struggles, your progress. Because this isn't just a video, it's a conversation. And every morning, we get a new chance to live with intention.